Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I have a review slash helpful tips video on the Anastasia Beverly Hills Cream Contour Kit right here. I mentioned it last month in my birthday makeup haul, which if you didn't see, I will have it linked down below. My niece is watching me. I'll have it linked down below, and I asked you guys if you would want to see like a review or a review and demo or a helpful tip video talking about how to use it and my thoughts on it. So here I am doing like a little helpful tips video on how to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Cream Contour Kit. It's not creamy smooth or anything like that. That's why I wanted to do this video. So if you were having a hard time with it, you know, it could be a lot easier before you go and return it. It's a great palette because you can use it as foundation, you can use it to contour, color correct, highlight, and conceal. So you get an all-in-one palette for $40, which is amazing because if you look at it, you have 3 contour shades and 3 concealer shades, but you can use them for whatever you want. So I have my color corrector, which is just perfect for covering up my dark spots as well as my dark circles, and then I have 2 concealer and highlight shades. I use this one for more dramatic looks like I did today, and I use this one for an everyday simple conceal and highlight, and then I use this as my foundation because it's a little too cool for me to contour with. This is like the perfect contour shade, and this is just too dark for me. It looks ashy, and it's actually called ash brown. It just does not look good. It's too stark, but other than that, it's amazing. I will find a use for this last one right here. Maybe I can use it on my sister or my mom or something like that, but other than that, I'm able to use the other 5 in the palette, which is amazing. So I love it. It's definitely a get it. If this was a good edition, I would say get it. But yeah, I've rambled enough, and let's go ahead and get into the tips and demo of this product. Okay, so the first tip I have for you guys for using this kit is to make sure you have a smooth base. That means priming your face. Priming your face is so important. Even if you have normal skin and you know you feel like you don't need it, priming your face is just really going to help your makeup stay longer. So if you have normal skin, then you can just use a smoothing primer which just evens everything out and just gives you a nice base. If you have combination skin like me, you might want to use a mattifying primer. So what I like to use in my T-zone is my Becca Ever Matte Poreless Priming Perfector, which I mainly use on my nose because it breaks me out on my forehead, but it cleared up, so I'm going to go ahead and use it on my forehead because this keeps me so matte, and you don't need a lot. So I just took about this much, and this little tube has been lasting me a long time. It's only $16, a little pricey for the amount that you get, but a little bit goes a long way. Like, I just used too much on my forehead. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend that out. I bring it on the side of my nose because I have huge pores on the, oh gosh. Black eyeshadow is so annoying. The fallout is ridiculous. I bring it down right here because I do get oily around my mouth. Okay, I picked the wrong day to do a black smoky eye. So yeah, now I'm just blending it out on my forehead. Bringing it down here. Only put it in the necessary places where you get oily because this mattes you like, ugh, you will be so matte. So now for the rest of my face, I'm taking my Maybelline Blur and Smooth Primer. This is not a mattifying primer. It just smooths out pores, and it's just a normal, good primer that I like to use on my skin. I'm dry right here on my cheeks and stuff, so this is good. Doesn't make me matte or anything. It doesn't hydrate the skin. It's just good for those days when your skin kind of feels normally, just when your skin feels normal. And I like to use a primer under my eyes because that prevents creasing, so I'm just going to take a little bit of the e.l.f. Hydrating Under Eye Primer. So I just grabbed this much, and I didn't take a lot because I did prime my under eyes at first. I like to do that before I start my makeup, but I had so much fallout from this eyeshadow that when I was wiping the eyeshadow off, I was wiping the primer off. So I only went in with a little bit. Usually I do go in with a little bit more. And as you see, this does give me a white cast, but it's nothing to worry about. Once we put foundation on, it's going to go away. Okay, so I'm going to take this shade right here, which is called Warm Coral. I'm just going to go in and color correct with it. And to apply the color corrector, I'm going to be taking this brush by Ulta, and this is their small eyeshadow brush. You can go in with your fingers, but I just prefer a brush. So I forgot to say it before I started, but tip number 2 is just to go in with a little bit of the color corrector because this is so pigmented. And you want to make sure that your foundation is going to cover it. Sometimes I go in with the color corrector and I have too much, so I still have a cast of pink and I have to go in and really build that concealer up, which is not good because building up the concealer can cause creasing. So now I'm just blending this out with my e.l.f. stipple brush. And also only put the color corrector where you need it to be because if you put it other places, it's not going to look right. It's going to look weird because there's nothing to cancel out. So just try and keep it directly under your eyes where you have the darkness. We're going to go ahead and do our foundation. For foundation, I'm going to be using Cinnamon. I'm just going to be applying that with this foundation brush or buffer brush, something like that, by Up and Up, which is a Target brand. I like to dip my brush in it and then I just pat it on my face and blend it out using circular motions. Guys, this is really pigmented. All the colors in here are pigmented and they can be really hard to blend out if you use too much. So just go in circular motions all around your face, only using like a little bit. And I like to dip my brush in it and then apply it to my face, because if you use a brush and like say a foundation brush and you draw lines on like you can do with like a stick foundation or something like that, that makes it so hard to blend out because this is not a creamy cream, you know what I mean? It's kind of thick, not kind of, it is very thick, so it would be extremely hard to go in and blend it out. And then where you put the lines, that's where you're going to have the most foundation at, and it's going to look stark and it's not going to be nice. I've tried it. That's how I know.
Because I want you to use this for your own benefit. The more you
Now we're going to move on to concealing our dark circles and highlighting our face. I know I look orange. I don't know if you can tell in this lighting, but I do look orange, mainly because I don't know why, but I think the tint of the foundation and the peach concealer going on makes me look orange, but once we have the concealer and contour and everything, I will look normal, so just bear with me. So my tip for using the concealer is to use a hydrating under eye primer underneath your eyes, because thick concealer under dry eyes does not mix. You will crease, especially with the consistency of this. So just go in with a hydrating under eye primer, which we already did. It's only $3, so not that expensive. You can go to CVS or order online. So I'm going to be using Banana today. I usually use cream. As you can see, I have a major dent in it. I'm about to hit pan because this is just the perfect everyday concealer for highlighting my under eye a little bit. It gives me a subtle highlight, but because my eyes are so dark, I'm going with Banana. So I'm just going to take this concealer brush by Equal Tools, pick some concealer up, and dot it underneath my eyes. If you guys want to see my whole contour and highlight video, why I contour and highlight this way, then just check that out. I will have it linked down below for you guys. Also, I have a video coming up. It'll either be the one after this or like the next one after the video I upload. It's going to be why I do the dotting method. I actually did a video on trying the dotting method and I ended up falling in love with it. So just subscribe if you want to see that video. I'm just going to highlight the chin and my cupid's bow. Okay. My next step for the concealer, my next tip that goes along with concealer is blend it out with a beauty blender. It just makes your life a lot easier. So I'm taking the pointed side of a nice clean beauty blender and I'm just going to go ahead in and blend that out. Next tip, I was going to save it, but I don't know if I'm going to do this video, but my tip, if you guys are going to be using such a bright concealer, make sure you color correct, because using a super bright concealer is not going to benefit you if you're not covering up your dark circles. When you go lighter with concealer, it's just mainly highlighting, it's not covering anything up. So when I was doing that, it actually made me look worse because it didn't help cover my dark it didn't help cover my dark circles or cancel them out, so I looked horrible. So that's just a little side tip for when you're concealing and highlighting. So this is going to sound crazy, especially if you have been with me for a while. You guys know how bad I used to crease, so I always had to go and set my under eyes with powder. But I'm actually going to wait. I know, you will see why in a minute, and I'm going to move on to contour. So my tip for contouring, when you're using your shade, make sure it's not too dark. I have to use chocolate. It is a little bit darker than what I usually go for, but it actually works out. So just use a little bit. I dot it on because, again, the consistency, it's not that creamy and smooth. So if you're just doing a line, it's going to make it harder to blend out. Dotting just makes your life a lot easier. So what I like to help me blend out this contour color is take my NYX First Base Primer Spray, and I'll just shake it up and then spray it on. Let me close it. And it's just going to soften up my skin and make the cream a lot easier to blend out because it's moist. And I'm just taking the other side of the Beauty Blender and I just go ahead and start blending that out. And I like to blend out my contour using a Beauty Blender, especially on my cheeks, because that just keeps the contour in one place. If I bring my contour down too far, it doesn't look it doesn't look natural, and this just keeps it higher up so it looks more natural. Now it's time to set our concealer and bake. So the reason I waited is because sometimes I end up creasing if I use too much. So what I will do is pull my eyelid down, and then if I have a little concealer like I do now, I'll just tap it out and then blend. And then I'll do the same thing on the other eye. I have a little bit of concealer there. And then just blend that out. And then I'm going to take my handy dandy Airspun translucent powder. And then I'm going to go in and set my under eye. I didn't use cosmetic sponges because I feel like it just made me crease. Yeah, I feel like it's making me crease. So I don't use it under my eye. I'm just going to take this e.l.f. concealer brush and just push it under my eye so I don't crease. And then I just take my cosmetic my cosmetic wedge and put it underneath the contour. I'm going to let that bake for a few. Okay, so now I'm just going to dust off the powder underneath the contour. I do let my eyes bake a little longer. And I'm just going to go ahead and set my contour. I know you're like, well, why didn't you set your contour and then bake? I don't like it too sharp. I just like it a little defined because I feel like if I have it too sharp, I just look weird. I'm going to go ahead and just wipe off the powder. Well, dust off the powder underneath my eye. Because thick concealer under thick eyes, under thick eyes, no. Thick concealer, only put it in the necessary or